Got one more grocery store run in me. Young or old, you can catch a boat if you need me. Give me 6 feet if you wanna keep it friendly. If you cough, things will pop off rather quickly. Ridley. Yo, I think it's time to hit the reset. Think about your life and every single regret.
Haven't you heard? A queen is on the rise. Wear a mini hat so she can open up your eyes. Join the convo, the podcast is lit. Cop a penny to the spice up your fit, yeah. She's a producer, you can vibe to her beats. She do the most, but she ain't come to do the least. Whether it's the combo or the music you want, find it all here at TiTiTalks.com. Come and stimulate your mind with TiTi Talks. Promise you'll never fall behind with TiTi Talks. The knowledge you're seeking you can find with TiTiTalks.com. So come on and get with TiTi Talks, yeah.
Peace, family. It's your girl TiTi from TiTi Talks. So glad to be back behind the mic again to bring you some more bomb content. And shout out to my brother Tremaine Lamar on this slapping track called 30 Days off his Songs from Earth EP. Y'all make sure y'all check it out now. It's such a dope conceptual project about everything happening with COVID-19. Thank you all for your engagement online as well as the TiTi Talks Facebook group. Special thank you to my patrons on Patreon. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a patron. Go to patreon.com/TiTi Talks and check out all of the different tiers. You can be a patron for as little as $3 a month. Y'all, that is almost free now. I'm working on producing a TiTi Talk series with expats in various places in Africa. I'm also writing a book and producing animations as well as content for children. So all of your support will be greatly appreciated. Follow TiTi Talks on social media at TiTi Talks on IG, TiTi_Talks on TikTok, at MS TiTi Talks, that's Miss TiTi Talks, on Twitter and New Network. Oh, by the way, a sister named Tavana Evans, you remember her from episode 13 of TiTi Talks, started a social media network. So meet me at that's NU.network. Also got to shout out my brother Adrian Cole. He created a new way to engage online with something called Voice Blast. I'll be using it quite a bit, so look out for that. You can also shoot me a text on 850-509-1194 if you want to do business or talk about how I can host your event or be a guest on your show or do some beats and instrumentals or audio video edits for your content. I'm very accessible, so just hit me up, all right? And listen to and subscribe to the podcast on TiTiTalks.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and now iHeartRadio. Last episode, I chopped it up with my good sister friend, Dr. Ieli Ichile. She is a historian and Harriet Tubman scholar, and the ancestors gifted us Kanye's comment about Mama Harriet right before we recorded, so we really had a chance to talk about Mama Harriet in a more critical manner. Here's a short clip from that discussion.
Harriet tried everything. Like, Harriet would respect the marchers, and Harriet would give respect to the people pulling down the monuments, and Harriet would give respect to people trying to pass legislation, and Harriet would give respect to people who were like, I'm not dealing with any of that. I'm straight up revolution. I'm burning it all down. Like, Harriet, essentially, if you were trying to work for the liberation of African people, Harriet could probably get behind you some kind of way and support you in some kind of way. She supported John Brown's raid at Harper's Ferry, but also tried to free people by joining the U.S. military. She was like, I'll try whatever it takes. Like, at the end of the day, if my people get something called akin to freedom, I'm going to try to push them there and support whoever else is heading in that direction. So it took a little pressure off of me learning that about her, because I feel like we kind of get in our little silos of like, I'm a cultural nationalist, I'm a revolutionary nationalist, this is the only way we gonna get free. And it's like, no, this is a multifaceted problem that we're facing. Maybe those people who are doing like civil rights legislation and you think that that's mild or something like that, and it's just not enough, that's just a half measure or whatever. Maybe those people who are doing that are creating the breathing room for you to continue your work, which may be on the more radical end of the spectrum, but like, it's necessary. Like just let them do it, you know?
If you missed that show, make sure you catch up, Mustard. This episode 33, I have my brother Diallo Sumbry. Y'all remember him from episode 9.
I Africa can't be a dirty word for us no more.
Right.
Like it's 2018. Come on, it's Wi-Fi. Like, come on, y'all. Like, Africa can't be a dirty word when you got Wi-Fi. It's like, we can't be afraid to travel there. It can't be as too far, it's too hot. It's 2018. You know what I mean? So it's time for us to reach out, reach beyond. And let me just say, all African Americans owe it to themselves to get there. Choose your country and go. Yeah. Engage with the people there, and then go often. Go again. Go as much as you can. If you can go once every 2 years, go. And see what that begins to do for your spirit. See how it wakens up this thing that's inside of you. And a lot of young people who are in bad situations, they sometimes feel like they were born to struggle. And they were born to go through all of this trauma, and born to just have a hard life. And it's just like, no, your birthright is not struggle. Your birthright is not hardness, toughness. It's living a good life. It's it's wealth, it's abundance, it's all of these things that we are. So I just kind of use that as one of my core values, and just kind of I drive everything from that idea that it's my birthright to have a good life.
He's back in the States and back on TiTi Talks. In case you have been under a rock, big shit is popping in Ghana, okay? There was a citizenship event in Ghana in November of 2019 where the president of Ghana gave 126 African diasporans citizenship. Also, Jamaica nationals can visit Ghana without a visa. Just like in episode 32, the ancestors gifted us with Black is King right before Diallo and I recorded. So from one Pan-African to another, Diallo and I were able to chop it up about this Pan-African project by Beyonce, as well as his own Pan-African projects happening in Ghana. Y'all gonna love this one. But before I jump into Diallo's talk with TiTi, let me share some critique of Black is King. I have many thoughts about this piece, and folks have been asking me my opinions. I definitely have some critique, but I also was overwhelmingly impressed with the scope and the scale of the project. I read an article, in essence, by the brilliant Burundian Pan-African activist Judikael Irakosi. The title of her piece was Why We Must Be Careful When Watching Beyonce's Black is King. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it, and we'll just talk about it a little bit, okay? It reads, "There is a real danger in romanticizing pre-colonial Africa. The glorification of kingdoms before white men met us erases the reality that Africa wasn't exactly a paradise. African kingdoms were rife with slavery, imperialism, women's oppression, and class oppression. Not everyone was a king or even a queen. More importantly, not every Black person in African countries had the potential of being born into a royal family or accessing its benefits. Our beloved Toni Morrison told us, the very serious function of racism is distraction. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reasons for being. Somebody says you have no language, and you spend 20 years proving that you do. This has been our struggle as Black people, living under the blinding effects of the white gaze. By continuously proving that we are worthy, and even more harshly, by participating in structures that uphold whiteness, such as capitalism and imperialism, under the guise of Black power. My queen Beyonce is a powerful, transcending artist with the power to instill in us liberating imaginations. As a woman of African descent whose ancestors survived generations of enslavement, she has the right to tap into her Africanness and find her connections to the continent and her belonging to the land. But when she willingly, through her art, participates in telling romanticized African royalty stories rooted in glamorizing Africa, she indirectly dehumanizes our Africanness. She validates neocolonialism, entrenched in negotiating and proving our humanity by pretending we're superhuman. One could wonder, are Africans humans with dignity if they are not kings and queens, draped in gold and diamonds? Are we saying our ancestors shouldn't have been enslaved because they were kings and queens and not simply because they were humans? Now, I think this was incisive critique. There are some things I view differently than she does, but this is an important conversation that I would like to have an ongoing dialogue about. From my view, I didn't see Black is King as a piece for white people or the white gaze. And also, it was fiction, not a documentary. It kind of reminds me of the time I was in Ghana and Black Panther had been released in the States. And I had seen it a couple of times in the States, and it had just released in Ghana a few days prior to my arrival, so of course I went to see it again. I paid less attention to the movie since I had already seen it and paid more attention to how people were responding. After the movie, I even sat out in the wee hours talking about the movie and its impact with a couple of local brothers. So even though the same critique that Sister Irakosi applied to Black is King, it can still be applied to Black Panther. But the conversations that opened up as a result of the art is my true measure of success. All that said, here were some of my issues with Black is King. There were definitely times where it was so over the top that it was hard to follow the storyline, even though it was familiar using the Lion King to drive the story. As with Irakosi, I also have critique of our obsession with royalty. That whole we were kings and queens narrative, or my personal favorite, we was kings, is vague, and it lacks the critical and historical analysis needed to really have a deeper understanding. For the sake of clarity and context, we do have some rare examples of kings and queens narrative here on this land and on this side of the pond, i.e. Queen Nanny, who was born in what is now Ghana and ended up in Jamaica and eventually was leader of a Maroon society. Now, this is definitely a kings and queens example worth exploring, but also the reality is that it was often the ruling class who sold our ancestors into slavery. Read up on Madame Tinubu of Abeokuta in what is now Nigeria. She was from a wealthy merchant family that sold everything, including people. There are so many dynamics involving this subject, and it's beyond the scope of this particular episode, but perhaps in the near future I can get a Pan-African panel together of folks so that we can really get to the meat of this conversation. I would absolutely love to see more representation of Africa that honors the everyday people, the entrepreneurs, the folks in tech, the hunters, the textile makers and the dyers, the blacksmiths and artisans and the market women and the fishermen and the educators and the priests and priestesses. We certainly need to have more robust and inclusive representation. After watching Black is King, I was interviewed by Latrice Sampson Richards on Afro's and audio virtual podcast Creative Kickback, and I was asked about Black is King. And here was my initial response.
That's why I really enjoyed, Black is King. I really wanted to take my time and talk about it because I have a lot of layered and complex feelings about it, and there's absolutely room for critique. But right now, I'm just happy to see Black people, like Black Panther. There's critique to be had, but I'm happy to see Black folks enjoying something on one accord. The scope and the scale, it was visually stunning. It was a true Pan-African project.
Now, right after that interview, I went live on Facebook and kind of expanded a little bit more on what I was talking about.
I know you reviewed Black is King. How would you rate it? It's too early for me to rate it. I have a little bit of critique on it that I'm still mulling through and thinking about, and I want to watch it a few more times. Overall, I thought it was pretty magnificent, though. I mean, the scope and the scale was just mind-blowing. Anything that's unifying for Black people is a win for me. I think there's space to critique it, but I also think that sometimes you just gotta let some shit breathe, man. Let the shit breathe, man.
So from my point of view, let's just keep viewing and enjoying and critiquing Black is King. I like the conversations that it's stirring up here and across the water. But enough about that. Let's get into this convo with one of my favorite Pan-Africans, president and founder of the Adinkra Group, Ghana Tourism Ambassador, Diallo Sumbry.
Family, peace, family. It's your girl TiTi from TiTi Talks. I am super duper excited. I'm always excited to have a show. Super excited about this guest. You know, it's always dope when I have a frequent flyer on the show. I'm gonna go ahead and just, I'll have to put the official TiTi Talk stamp on his passport because, I think he was on episode, it was either 8 or 9 in the first season, and we talked. It was episode 9. Okay. And we talked about Ghana. We had just come back from Ghana, and we were talking about that. And and then I came back and did some content at the Birthright show last summer.
Which was dope.
It was fantastic. And so yes, Diallo has been in Ghana and he is back on this side. And I just wanted to catch up with the brother. He kind of be in the wind, you know what I'm saying? 1 second, boom.
I thought Diallo was just in Ghana. He had been in DC for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? That's a beautiful thing to be able to move like that. And so welcome, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me back.
Oh yeah. Got to.
Now,
So
what episode is this? What number is this?
This is 33.
Okay.
This is 33.
I wanted to see if I was a multiple of 9, but 3 times 3 is 9, so 33. Okay, okay. Hey, look, I'm just talking shit because I don't know nothing about numerology.
You trying to get your coincidences on, man? I don't know the way the energy been feeling lately. I'm
Right.
kind of liking how stuff is kind of the energy's kind of been popping. So, welcome back home. Good to see you. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in Ghana, what's been going on since you've been back, things going on with the Adinkra group, Farafina Khan. They just dropped that fire-ass video the other day.
More coming.
Had my stories chirping. People in there, yo, who is this? I was like, them the young G's right there, man. They getting
Right.
in.
Who was the young lion?
I love
lion?
I love it. So Diallo, I was just talking to Diallo before we started recording about how last episode with Dr. Yeli Achille, she and I ended up talking about Harriet Tubman because Kanye kind of had some commentary about Mama Harriet right before our show. And since she's a historian, it kind of fell in our laps. And so I wanted to talk with Brother Diallo about like Pan-Africanism, things that he's been doing in Ghana, expand on what we kind of talked about the first time he was on. And Beyonce done dropped Black is King. So the internet's kind of buzzy, right now with what's going on. And, there's a camp of people who is just like, yo, this the best shit ever in the world, Wakanda forever. And then there's like another camp who is seeing it in a different light. But Brother Diallo came on and just said like one sentence. He was like, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Just one sentence. So talk to me. And I just watched it today.
Okay.
Before I even can talk about what I did or didn't or whatever, I'm impressed by the scope of the project. Just the scope of the project. It's a big idea. I mean, it looked like a logistical nightmare. But it was executed
right
very beautifully.
Right.
Very beautifully. I saw hundreds of Black people on TV.
Yep. On
working,
Disney.
Entertaining, set designing, fashion designing, music, art. And just from a visual standpoint, it was really stunning. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I appreciated the amount of work that went into it. What were your thoughts on it? What did you think about it?
Well, so I went to a friend's house the other night, and his wife is like self-proclaimed DMV Beyonce Beehive chapter president. So it was serious, you know what I'm saying? They had the banner when you walk in, a whole bunch of other stuff. And I didn't really get a chance to watch it there because I was on the other side with my brethren just catching up. But I watched it when I got home the next day. I think I watched it the next day. So I got a chance to sit and watch it from the front to the back. So, so when you're into production, right? And when you're into art, I can't watch it without looking at like the camera transitions, the angles, the color, the choreography. Even I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, who put this story together?
Right.
Because it's a visual album.
Yeah.
So it's a movie, but it's a visual album where somebody had to make a track list and decide, what goes in the order. Beyonce and them already did that. Then somebody actually had to be creative to put a visual story to each song so that it makes sense and so that it's seamless, right? And most of us who are on the receiving side of the art, the average person will never know what it feels like to be in the studio. They'll never know what it feels like to actually sit on the bench and do edits, color correction, and just, how it is working with multiple creative directors.
Yes.
So that part alone was incredible, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just incredible. When I look at all of the Black creatives that she worked with, when I look at the makeup and some of the scenery, I mean, the ladies dancing, what's the water choreography, like so much of it was just really incredible. So when I look at it from that standpoint, it's just like, really from every standpoint, it's incredible. So when I watched it, I just had a great appreciation for it. Some of us who've been professionally Black all our life, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for quote unquote mainstream to catch up. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to present some of the things that we know and to present imagery, video, and songs about Black African spirituality in a way that can at least maybe help open the doors for other people to begin to do some research and learn. So I'm pretty clear about, I'm pretty clear that I loved it, and I'm pretty clear that I believe it's a benefit in society. I think from a creative perspective, it can really go down as one of the best Black African creative works that have ever been made. When we think about, and just let's think about the timing of it, where we are with the protests, following up on the year of return, and just how this, like, we're in the middle of this new Black Renaissance. And
absolutely.
She dropped a major piece that really can only be seen as a contribution. I mean, naturally, art is subjective. So whenever you release art, it's in the eye of the beholder. So some people gonna like it, some people not gonna like it. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is that it can mean something different to different people.
Absolutely.
It can be dissected, it can be criticized. Like the things that no one's talking about, we don't know because nobody's talking about it, right? But when people are talking about it, that means that it struck something. So, I mean, I need to watch it again because I haven't watched it with my wife and my daughter. They were in North Carolina when they watched it, and I watched it with my son, Kwaku, who's also an artist. And we both was just like some of the same things. We was like, did you see that camera cut? Did you see that angle? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? The colors, it was just like, I've only watched it once. So like I watched it once and I may have read 2 articles about it. One that was in Essence and one that was in Medium. Both good articles, different perspectives, but I love the shit. So I'm like, they like, you want to join the Beehive? I'm like, you're going too far. I love Beyonce. I love Jay-Z. I love their music. I like what they represent, what they can stand to represent. I love the fact that other people are getting mad saying that it's satanic. I love the fact that she's actually saying the names of traditional spirits, you know what I'm saying, and bringing up the Orisha. I love the fact that she had Dogon masks. Yeah, like there was so much real African imagery that was all pieced together.
I heard Bambara. I heard Yoruba.
Everything
I heard
was
Zulu.
in there, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, she's not a historian, so I'm not expecting her to make a historically accurate documentary about each of these cultures. You can't. They're too expansive. They're too massive.
Yeah.
But she opened up a lot of people's eyes, and a lot of people, I think, are now about to start researching, and they may see it's okay to not be Christian or Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, most people, are you Christian or Muslim? Like, those are the only 2 choices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I thought it was dope. I thought it was dope. I look forward to watching it again.
Yeah.
And just to see what I see different.
Yeah, and I'm excited to watch it again for a number of reasons. Just, I feel like I missed a lot because you were just so stunned by something that happened prior to it that it took you a minute to kind of catch up to what was going on because you were still thinking about what was happening in the prior scene. So it's like, I feel like, you watch it again and you're going to be able to see some new things. Somebody made an interesting post today. I want to say it was Brother Javante. And he said, they had all these think pieces when Michael Jackson dropped Moonwalker or when Prince dropped, Under the Cherry Moon, they would have tore it to shreds too. You know what I mean? It would have been a similar thing. You know, all of our very creative artists, they always took on these big, massive, magnum opus type, you know what I'm saying, type pieces. And, you know, whether you rock with it or not, you know, Mother Toni Morrison's always going to have the bluest eye. You know, these big, epic stories. And Mama Maya with I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. And then having a film adaptation of it, you know, on top of that. We always...
Outside of the song, of the songs, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, did people listen to the narration?
Oh my gosh.
Listen to what she was saying and how what she is saying is something that most of us have either been complaining about, or waiting for some Black artist to say, right? Like, use your platform. And she said it. She did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type that want to. I don't believe in raising people up on this very high pedestal. And I don't. Sometimes I believe the artists themselves don't ask to be on the pedestal. It's the people who put them up there. And then once they put you up there, they put you up on a block where they can knock you down. But most people don't say, "Put me here." But that's what happens when you have influence. That's what happens when, you know, you grow your following and your stardom to this point. I mean, we could look at both her and Jay-Z and see their metamorphosis on wax.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We could see where they started, and it's almost like, damn, well, maybe that's what they had to do. You know, maybe they had to start off selling crack, shooting you in the head, you know, Destiny's Child kind of thing, you know, fall into the normal Black women, slim outfit, shake your booty, sing about love to get to this point. But I'm really happy to be able to see her and a lot of other artists like this. I'm happy to see that metamorphosis through their artwork. Like, they ain't hide it. You know what I'm saying? It's like all the ball players and people who have million followers who are vegans, but they can't talk about the fact that they're vegan because some of their money comes from meatpacking companies.
Right.
So they can't promote a healthy lifestyle and say, I'm vegan. You know what I'm saying? They just still talk about steak and cheeses and this, but they don't eat it.
Yeah.
So here we have some people who, you know, we hope. And it doesn't even matter to me if they actually, you know, if they actually go get readings or if they have a shrine or if they have an altar. Like, that doesn't matter to me personally if they do this in their personal lives, right? Because it's Jay-Z and Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? It's Beyonce and Jay-Z. And the reason why I keep bringing up Jay-Z as a part of this, because I don't want to say, why you got to keep bringing up Jay-Z? This sister could have her own shine. Because when I mention Jay-Z, I mention Beyonce too. And I feel like the yin and the yang that the emblem is about, that the logo is about, and I feel like they're a team and they're a pair, and they hand off the lead to each other when they do things. You know what I'm saying? And I have a big appreciation for Jay-Z falling all the way back. Like, my queen got this, my lady got this. I don't need to say nothing. I'm just take whatever part she gives.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna hold her down and do my part. So
right.
You know, I mean, you know, but then you get to that thing where some people have a challenge because not necessarily with the artist, but they have a challenge with everybody else who's going crazy over the artist. So it's just like, if so many people didn't like put her up on this pedestal, I might like her more, but it has nothing to do with her.
Right.
You know, that's my opinion at least. But yeah, you know, I think it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I was happy to see that. And, you know, some of this they filmed in December in Ghana. So there was this big rumor about whether or not Beyonce was in Ghana in December. And I didn't get a chance to see her. And it was this one event that I could have went to that I knew she was there, but I didn't because I had a lot of people there. But a friend of mine who knew told me, like, she's here. You ain't going to see her. You ain't going to hear about it, but she's here. So I'm happy to see Shatawale get this shine. I was happy to see all of the African artists get their shine, you know what I'm saying? Because the visual makes it a little bit different than the album.
Right.
So I'm really happy for what it can do for Black African people worldwide.
And I feel like when Beyonce and other artists, when they do things like this, I think it's up to us, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty of this too, and I have to check myself on this a lot of times too. We have the tendency to kind of like criticize instead of trying to build on what they kind of lay down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you fully agree with everything or not, you know, you could pick the meat and leave the bones, and you know what I'm saying, be able to, you know, have conversations and meet on one accord with people, because whether you like it or not, people have overwhelmingly responded positively to it. You know, it's been hugely positive. So I'm more in line with, let's ride that wave. Let's ride that energy. If people is digging it, let's meet the people where they are and then help them to kind of flesh out, you know, what's fact, what's fiction, add a little bit of politics in it so that, you know, we can be able to bring it home. So that's what I'm encouraging. Like, you know, a lot of us, you know, this is don't squander a teachable moment. You know what I'm saying? That she's been able to galvanize with just the massive star power that she has.
Because if it was whack, everybody'd be like, she finally failed.
Right.
Like she finally didn't do some shit that was hot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We finally see her whack side. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, I'm disappointed. People are like, I'm so disappointed in Beyonce. I expected so much more. So it's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. I'm gonna tell you right now, for all your listeners, if you in the business of being black, don't complain. You need to go check your SEO and your internet keywords and add Beyonce, Black is King, and some of the names of the creatives that people gonna be researching, and up your name on that Google search, because the world right now is looking to, you know, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of this Black Renaissance. It's a combination of the current sitting president, who people hate and just feel like, damn, it's just like the thing that people are clinching to is, how can I get blacker, right? I'm already black, but how can I get blacker? Maybe I should change my name to an African name, Black Power. Let me go research and read this book. You know what I'm saying? I was watching an interview with the artist. I think her name is No Name.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much about her. I just started seeing some stuff about her and J. Cole. But when I watched this interview with her, she started talking about how she did a song about something that she didn't know. So people started hitting her up. So she's like, yeah, I just read Destruction of Black Civilization. I just read How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. She went to school. She started doing research. So I was like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? But those of us who've been sitting with these books and this knowledge for a while, you know, telling people in our individual circles to now see it expanding and spreading, let's get smart. Let's use this as an opportunity to pull more people into who we are, what we are doing, and let's do good business. You know, let's figure out. Let's make some paper too. You know,
let's do that. Get that on your damn agenda.
Stop playing.
Let's get these points, man. So listen. So we got Beyonce got everybody all riled up. Everybody turned up. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited because I'm seeing a lot of young people. They want to ask questions. They want to know things, and some are asking other critical questions. The Essence article, the sister Judikael Irakose from Burundi, I thought she had some extremely valid critique in her article. Let's take that and figure out what was the best that we could take from what Beyonce was saying. What was the best from what some of our critical thinkers and you know, and radical, you know, people, and let's get the best of what's being said and be able to administer it. So now that everybody's all turned up, everybody want to go to Africa now. Everybody's like chomping at the bit, waiting for people to want this bad ass blue passport. Ooh, that thing lost value fast.
Hey, listen, I saw this map. This is a map.
Yeah, I seen that.
You saw that joint?
Yeah.
I got depressed.
Yo.
I'm depressed. I'm like, well, you know what? I hit somebody from the embassy up and was just asking, like, you know, if there's another emergency repatriation flight back to Ghana, can I get on it? They was like, yeah, you good. I was like, okay, great. You know, even though the borders are still closed, they're still doing repatriation flights from various countries in West Africa back to the U.S. and in places in Europe, and from those places back to the country. So
I heard some people were getting stuck there. What's the word on that?
Well, so when it happened, I saw the embassy sent out a note or something saying like level 4, if you're in America, you need to get out as soon as you can. And I personally didn't pay too much attention to it because I was like, and I didn't think that it would last as long. I personally thought it was going to pass over. I'm thinking, something will happen, but then in a few weeks, we'll be back up and running. So, people got stuck, meaning that they traveled. And when Ghana decided to close its borders, you couldn't get out. Once that country says they're closing the borders and the U.S. Embassy is not doing any more repatriation flights or emergency repatriation flights, which a lot of times were really expensive because it's one way. So instead of paying $1,200-$1,500 for a round trip, that's how much it costs just to get home. And some people maybe some people thought that there were going to be more flights, and then you just have capacity. There were just more people out of the country than there were seats coming back into the country. So yes, some people did get stuck. And there are probably some people, I'm sure, in Ghana and Senegal and Sierra Leone and Nigeria who couldn't get home. And it's not just African Americans. We have to realize that you have a lot of continental Africans who are American citizens or who hold green cards and work permits who also travel home. They travel home to visit family and then come back. So it's a lot of different people that are stuck or that are temporarily on hold in one of these African countries or even in some of these European countries, because you got Ghanaians that are in Amsterdam. You got Ghanaians that are in other countries who can't get home as well. So all around the world, once the borders close and airlines stop flying, you got people stuck where they are.
Right.
But I think the people who are stuck in Ghana, hopefully they're making the best of it. You know what I'm saying? God forbid you don't have somebody in your family who's sick. You know what I'm saying? Or you're an essential worker, you can't get back to your job, or something like that. Or and then you could run out of money because if you're staying in a hotel,
right,
you just came for a visit. Now you got to try to find a place to rent, which is not the easiest thing to do all the time. So I get that there are going to be some challenges, but I met two brothers from Atlanta who they came for a week and wind up being there for a month.
Wow.
They was like, one of them was like, this is my first time in Africa. I treated myself for my birthday and I got stuck. And oddly enough, when on the flight that I left out, his boy was on, he decided I'm going to stay for a little while longer.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So he decided I'm going to just go ahead and chill. I'm good for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and chill. So, it's interesting. It's interesting when, because you got to pivot, you got to adapt, you got to figure something out.
Pivot is the word right there. Pivot is the word. I've been hearing you drop that word, and every time you drop it, I'd be like, bruh, it's
because it's an action too.
Come on. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for everybody who know basketball, when I could go left, I could go right, I could fade, I could spin, I could take 2 steps, lay up, I could just jump and dunk. Like you got from a pivot is not a stuck place. You just center 1 foot down as an access. Now you really can do a 360-degree turn and figure out what is the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? So when we think about what a pivot is, literally, it's not that you're stuck. It's just like a pause to decide which way am I going to go. And I think for a lot of us, it can be good. It can be good, especially if it was forced on us, so.
Right.
Gotta figure it out.
So I've had a bunch of people recently. People usually ask me this, but there's been a lot more as of recently. They've been asking me about Africa, going to Africa, traveling to Africa, moving to Africa, doing business in Africa. I was like, well, listen, I don't yet have no business in Africa or anything like that. So I ain't the one to talk to. But people ask me anyway. I said I could tell you a little bit about the little couple of places that I've been, but so if somebody were to come to you and be like, listen, I'm interested in perhaps maybe living in Ghana, maybe bringing my family to Ghana, what would kind of be your advice for them?
Well, the first question is, have you been?
Mm-hmm.
Right? because I get a lot of people who say they want to move, and when I ask that question, have you been? They say no. I'm like, well, the first thing you want to do is visit. And if you're visiting, and I would even say don't visit on your first visit with the intent to move. You know, give yourself an opportunity to be on the ground and give yourself an opportunity to just soak up the experience. You know, give yourself an opportunity to see beyond whatever your tour company or host is kind of showing you. Even though you're with them, just try to see beyond, right? Because sometimes when you travel with somebody, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that you don't see, right? And those are the same things that you may have to deal with when you go back, or if you go on your own to move or something like that. So my first piece of advice is to visit, is to make the investment and visit, right? Like some people say, oh, it's too expensive, I can't afford it, or this, that, and the third. Make the investment and visit. Like, figure it out, start saving your money, buy one less pair of Jordans, or, you know, buy 14 grams less of weed every 2 weeks, like whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying? And wherever you're spending your money, whether it's on shoes, whether it's on Uber, maybe you need to catch a bus. Like, most people haven't really looked at their expenses in a detailed way to figure out if they can go to Africa, but they may do that for other things. So I believe that you can, you know, for a lot of people, if it's important to you, you'll figure it out. But then there is, you know, people who just can't afford it. Like, right. I get that too. Like, that's a part of it. But the first thing is to go, and see if you like it, and to visit as many different parts as you can during the time that you're there, because every place got a different vibe. Like, I've been to Miami Gardens. Miami Gardens got a different vibe than Northwest DC. It just does. You know what I'm saying? I've been to East St. Louis. It got a different vibe than Oakland. It got a different vibe than the Wild Hunters in Chicago. Got a different vibe than Brooklyn. Got a different vibe than Houston. So when you travel to these different countries, and even to these sections of these different countries, they all have a different vibe. They all kind of have a different energy. So you want to kind of go and make sure that it's something that sits with you, right? Like, you got to feel it under your skin. When you feel it under your skin, then you just like, yo, I gotta, you know. And that's if you're just trying to go and move. But some people who are entrepreneurs here, a lot of people that I know who go and stay and who want to move are interested in business. Because you go and you automatically just see opportunity. No one has to necessarily introduce opportunity to it. You see it everywhere you go, because your mind is already in the mode of identifying opportunity automatic. It's like something called subconscious automatic, where subconsciously your mind automatically picks these things up because you put yourself in an environment and in a mode where that's what your heart and your spirit and your soul connects to.
You've gained mastery.
You know?
You've gained a level of mastery,
Exactly. So your spirit sometimes leads you. You're not necessarily led by your will or your conscious mind. It's that unconscious mind and that spirit that's leading you to what it knows can help to set itself free. And I think that people find that a lot when they visit the continent of Africa. Like, you know, no matter what country you go to, I'm in Ghana, so that's the place where we connected. You know,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, he the Ghana plug.
I mean, I could, you know, so I'm in the process of writing a few books too. One of them is a repatriation guide. And I haven't really said that publicly, but I could say that on TiTi Talk.
Yes.
I could say that on TiTi
That's exciting.
Talk, where, and interestingly enough, I started writing another book first. So I got into that book, got a few chapters in, and then as it happens with me, ancestors start talking. They blocked the other book, so I could no longer focus on this other book. Just, it wasn't coming no more. And then all of this repatriation guide stuff started coming, so I had to start writing, because it was just like, okay, now all of this is coming, and it's coming clear. Like, it's coming fast and it's coming clear. Let me capture as much of this as I can.
Right.
You know, a lot has changed with me since last year in Ghana. But there are a lot of different people that I've met, not only from America, but people from London, Black people from Australia, Black people from the Caribbean who have moved to Ghana or other parts and have made it home, you know, and are doing what I feel to be is a good job in terms of making it home. And they made the commitment and they're making it happen. You know what I'm saying? They're making it happen.
That's a beautiful thing. So for anybody that's interested, if you're willing to do the work, it's within your reach to do.
Oh yeah. No. It's very, very close. It's very realistic. And I'll tell you a few things that I think that have worked really well for me. One, I was pretty much virtual for about 2 or 3 years before COVID. So I had already pretty much worked out how to work virtually and how to survive virtually, make my money virtually by contracting, employment, or whatever, just strong relationships, being able to deliver. And what I would like to say is being able to agree on a price and the amount of time that I felt was worth my value or whatever, right? So you ain't got to do 40 hours. You don't always have to do 40 hours to get a full paycheck, right? So traveling back and forth was one thing. The first thing I did is I made a decision. I made a decision that nothing was going to stop me from being in Africa, including money. It was a mental, intentional decision. And I said, nothing, I won't allow anything to stand in the way of when I'm ready to go or want to go. I never want to be able like, I can't because I can't afford it, or I can't because of this thing. So for me, part of my process was breaking the relationship that I had with things. So a lot of times we just have so many things that we have to take care of. It's not even necessarily family that we're taking care of.
Right.
But when you think about leaving a place or going someplace else, the first thing a lot of people think about is, what am I going to do with all my things, right? All my clothes, all my shoes, my car, my CDs, my albums, my books. Like, so I, gave away like most of all my clothes, sold my car. Like I just got rid of this attachment to things which were costing me money at the same time. So then that helped me to kind of get rid of that attachment so that at least that wouldn't be one of the things that's preventing me from going or holding me back. That was one thing. And then the other thing was just leaped out on faith. Like I know it's cliche. I know we hear it all the time. Jump and grow wings and take one step and God will take the other step, or make up your mind and the universe will conspire in your favor. Yeah. Like all of that stuff is cliche. People tired of hearing it, but it's only cliche to the people who haven't done it. For the people who have done it, it's real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna find nobody who stepped out on faith and it worked for them say it's cliche.
Right.
They're gonna be like, okay, but I'm living proof. People want to say I'm living proof. So it was also just going. 2017, I went to Ghana 4 times. 2016, 2 times. 2018, 8 times. Before I got my apartment moved and got really involved. And it was just a commitment. Like, it was a serious, serious commitment, because all of the time that I was traveling to help set up the year of return in 2017, I bought my own tickets. Ghanaian government didn't buy my tickets. They didn't put me in a hotel when I got there. None of that happened. And I never asked. And for me, it was also about maintaining my sense of ownership and independence. I didn't want to be employed. I wanted to be a partner. I wanted to have a stake in this that no one could take away from me. So, or a stake in this that I didn't have to ask for. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or
like, you can't give me credit for something that I did. It's not giving me credit or not. I did it, it's there. You know what I'm saying? So that was one thing. So it was, now mind you, I'm also not the average person. We're not average people when it comes to Africa, Black or African things, because we have a background and we're steeped in traditional African culture, traditional African spiritual systems. We have a different worldview. We've been professionally Black for a long time. Like some of us don't like mud cloth because it's just like, it's cool, but there's so much more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, so all of that, and then having this open mind really just kind of helped me explore some very modern things and sensible things. Is Ghana is 4 or 5 hours ahead of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like being ahead than behind.
I'm with
you. When I wake up at 6, it's 2 a.m. here. Everything starts really early in Ghana, so I could work from 6 to 12, right? On Ghana side, at 12 o'clock in Ghana, it's only 8 o'clock here. I could get back to my laptop, get online, and be focused on U.S. time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I got business on the West Coast, I still got another 3 hours to deal with business on the West Coast. So from a time perspective, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it, because sometimes I can get 2 to 3 work days in one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not as tired as I would be here, because I think it's just something about the sun, the air, the energy, and just, everything that just works together. It's like a magic formula almost that just, your energy level is different over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that I think that works for me. And then taking your time, and finding people that you can trust to work with, finding people, vetting people, having experiences, having bad experiences, having good experiences, not giving up, taking public transportation, you know what I'm saying? Just like figuring it out. And then once you figure it out, and one of my philosophies is street rules apply everywhere.
Hello.
So,
hello. Anytime we was in when I was in Ghana with Diallo, we went to a new spot. We went to go talk to the chief. Just like you do in the hood, you go find the person that's holding. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And we here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We in your town. We gonna be here for 2 days, and they say you good.
Exactly.
No?
And that's what I really loved about Black is King. It has that element in it, where it kind of gave the nod and it gave the salute to everybody. I've been several places all across the continent, all through the diaspora, through the Caribbean, through South America, Central America, West Africa, East Africa, Caribbean, all of that. And I tell you what, I saw a whole lot of that represented in Black is King.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Caribbean in there. I saw South Africa. I saw Namibia.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Nigeria and heard it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Egypt, Mali. Seen people in the U.S. I saw my uncle. Not in real life, but just somebody who reminded me of them. And so, that's where I kind of was missing with some of the critique that, it was like, well, Africa is a continent and it's not. I was like, was you paying attention? There was like individual shout outs through language, through traditional dress and clothing, through different dance styles. There were some rhythms that I heard, language, all kinds of things. So, and I'm always leery of making huge claims on big projects that like 24 to 48 hours after it pops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What is the conversation going to be about in 10 years around this film, in 20 years, in 30 years? Sometimes it takes time to digest. There's been classic albums or even not classic albums that I've heard. The first time I heard it, I didn't care for it. The second time I heard it, I didn't care for it. I didn't even want to hear it no more. Then I ended up hearing it again for a third time and caught something. 10 listens later, I'm jamming that shit.
You love it, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't want to speak too deeply on Beyonce because I feel like I need to like experience it a little bit more. But, we also got to be gentle with ourselves. We know black capitalism ain't gonna save us. When did Beyonce say in the thing that black capitalism was gonna save us? She did not say that, not nary one time. And the whole thing, I tell you what she did say. She did say that you need to focus on your destiny. She said that. She did pay homage to the ancestors. She did say that. You know what I'm saying? She did honor her parents, which is a very African thing to do. And she honored her children, which is a very African thing to do, a very Black thing to do. She had her sister on there. You know, she shouted out her homegirls on there. She put people on. You know,
shouted out her mentors.
Everything. So, you know, before I go tearing anything down, because I do have some critique, but I still want to, you know, mull over it a little bit before I'll probably write a blog post about it at some point. I'll sit with it for a little while, but I just appreciated it for that.
You know, most of us have to really look at, like, I was an English major, my undergrad. Works of art that have become classics and have become irreparably great didn't get there because they were not critiqued. They got there because they were the most heavily critiqued. And I remember discovering literary criticism in one of my classes, where you realize you have the work of art, and then you have a whole nother canon of critique on that work of art. And the only ones that we're researching are the ones that have this canon of critique, that are volumes and volumes and volumes that people have critiqued this piece of work over years.
Yeah.
We are still dissecting work from the Harlem Renaissance. Right? We are still dissecting translations from hieroglyphics. We are still dissecting written works and other things that were found deep in Africa, deep in South America, right? We are still dissecting and talking about Marvin Gaye, right?
Absolutely.
Like when he did when he did the Star Spangled Banner, that joint is still like being talked about, being replayed, being critiqued, being analyzed, like to this day
by me. Because you want to know something? This is a little known TiTi fact. I hate that version. God, I hate it. And listen, everybody I know loved that stuff, and it's a classic. But I just hear it and I be like, man, turn on Whitney. Damn.
listen. When Marvin Gaye sang that song at that game, and the first time I heard it,
he was sexing the motherfucker though.
I said, God damn, I love Black people.
Yeah.
He just flipped this whole joint on his head and just did it his way. You know what I'm saying? Think about people are still trying to understand Miles Davis and Charlie Parker.
Yeah. Word.
And then you got some people who say that they're not as great as we think they are. And it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that I think can stand the test of time. Yeah. And only time will tell, you know, how it's held up. And it's one of those things we kind of have to appreciate in the moment. But, you know, most of the critique happens on social media. And we know social media has a short time span. So in 3 days, you know, we're going to be talking about something else. By next week, we're going to be on to something else.
Whole new thing, yeah.
Nobody's really, you know, only the serious people are going to do the real work who care, right? And I ain't one of them. I don't care that much, right? I'm not going to sit and watch it with a pen and pad, because in order to dissect a piece like that, to give it proper attention, you really have to watch it a lot. You got to sit down with a pen and pad, and you might have to watch each song several times, take notes. You got to look at references. You got to look at colors. If you go into the history of dance, you can analyze it from the history of dance. I'm sure we can look at it and find Catherine Dunham movements. I'm sure we can look at it and find, you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody really wants to go deep, you could really go deep with this piece. And this could be a PhD thesis for somebody. It's that much information there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to do it, but, you know, somebody might do it. But it's, you know, for me, like I said, it's, you know, it's here and it's just like dope. Okay, Beyonce, how many more people going to sign up for my next trip to Africa because of this? How can I use Black is King on my next advertisement?
Listen, ride the wave. Did I not say it? Know? Just ride that thing. And you know, I'm really excited for children who get to watch this. You know, it you know, it hits a little different when you see a 5 or a 6 year old mesmerized, you know, looking at this type of content. I remember being a little girl looking at like like I talked about earlier, Moonwalker or Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, you know, stuff like that. I even remember MC Hammer had a short film. I remember, and I'm a little kid. I was hugely impacted by things like that. You know, even seeing something like the movie Shaka Zulu. You know,
oh yeah,
that movie is probably my favorite movie ever.
And you can see remnants of that in Black is King too.
All day. That's how I knew. Shaka Zulu gave me the reference first to know what was Zulu.
Yeah, Shaka. You are my Lord, Shaka.
Baby. It goes. Listen. Now listen, 30 years later, Diallo and I sitting up here talking about Shaka Zulu, and we sat up and watched all 10 hours and 37 minutes of that thing, don't we?
On VHS.
Facts.
We had tapes. It was tapes. How many tapes was it? It was like Shaka 6. Zulu and Roots.
Yes.
We had to watch all the tapes.
Yes, we watched the tapes. There's a lot of critique about Roots. There's a lot of critique about that Shaka Zulu movie. There's a lot of critique. But the impact, what it did for you, there's a psychic and a spiritual thing that happens when you watch, you know, when you watch that too. You know, and then it's like, you know, and then of course it's beautifully woven into the mythology of the Lion King, which is also an ancient, even more ancient story coming out of Africa. And so, y'all, people, I implore you, sit with it a little bit more. If it ain't your thing, it ain't your thing. Everything ain't for everybody. And I'm not, you know, you know, I ain't out here. I ain't no Jehovah Witness for ATR. You know, I ain't out here ringing on people's doorbell like, come. Yeah, no, that's not it. Yes. Right. Booga, yeah, right. We can really get ignorant with this, right? But seriously, yo, that ain't.
But you know, we are looking at everybody who called me an African booty scratcher. Salute to you. Back in the day, if you ever said the word African booty scratcher or something like that, or made a joke about Africa, and now I see you got an African name, you got cowrie shells in your head. I'm just happy that you came along for the ride. Right,
listen, that's all you could do, you know. I used to be the one rescuing people from being bullied, for real. I remember that was this dude. I ain't gonna put him out there, but that was his brother from Africa, man. He was mercilessly just harassed, and I was like, nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. I've been Pan-African since before I knew what it was. I didn't know what that was. But I was like, that's the homie right there. You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? So, you know, I always have I almost want to have well, let me go ahead and ask it. Give me your thoughts on.
Yeah, you can ask anything.
Give me your thoughts on ADOS, ADOS.
You know, I haven't. I've watched a few videos. And let me say, I think I understand. I think I understand that ADOS is saying we are the American descendants of slaves. I don't know that they're saying we didn't come from Africa. Like, I don't know. I haven't gotten a lot into it, just to be honest. I haven't followed it a lot. I've seen some videos and I've seen some people talking. But I can say that I don't think that there's any one way to recover ourselves, right? And all of these efforts are efforts at recovering a piece of our identity.
Right.
All of these efforts aim to bring a group of Black people together under one banner to say that we believe this. And I think the most important thing about it is that all of them are about unifying Black people, even though it's from a different way and a different perspective, from a different thought. And I think all of it recognizes the evil of white supremacy and oppression. And they all recognize that ain't good for us. Right. I was reading this article today that just talked about the sister went in talking about she don't use the word white ally. And she was just talking about how because racism is yours, it's not mine. But y'all keep saying we're in this together. No, it's not we in this together. you keep putting me in this mix with you, and the problem is not mine, it's yours. Y'all need to fix it. And I think that ADOS and everybody else believes really in the same thing. Like, somebody just hasn't really figured out what that technical difference is. And then, we Black. So everybody got their flavor and thing they do it. Somebody going to say something different. You ain't like the tone in which they said it. So I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pull up next time you come to my town or what have you. So I don't really know too much about ADOS. And to be honest, I'm not really looking to get into or debate or discover a whole lot of things that are not necessarily in my path or align with my mission, because then I would be using my energy to debate, negate, or fight against something when I want to use all of my energy to fight for what I believe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of my thing. But I have told myself that at some point I'm gonna do some research, because I think I'm gonna retire as a scholar. like at some point I think I'm gonna go away for 5 years and just read a lot more books and write. You know what I'm saying? And just write, and then put out articles and white papers and books that kind of express my feelings about various topics. But for now, I'm just not interested in trying to figure out every philosophy on Black freedom.
Yeah. I feel that for sure. I have a pretty similar orientation. I don't understand everything about, and I've read a little bit more in depth, and I listen to some of the content, and just as a, I support it just as a fellow Black independent creator, content creator, and independent Black media. Just period. I don't gotta agree with everything for me to be in alignment with independent Black media.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it takes to have to set up platforms and to produce. And so, hey, and doing it on your own, in your own ecosystem, that's a whole nother level. And, I'm Pan-African in orientation. So there are some places where we just don't meet. But also in the same vein, how I'm gonna be mad at people fighting for me? Using their definition, I am ADOS.
Right.
And they up here trying to get me a couple reparation dollars and whatever. Hey,
I'm gonna cash the check.
Listen, thank you. We don't got to meet up in every single place. There may be elements of our politics that do mesh, and then elements of our politics that don't mesh. I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna cash all the checks. I'm gonna cash them.
Who?
I'm gonna cash them. What's his name? 45. I'm gonna cash them stimulus checks.
Baby.
I'm gonna cash them SBA loans. All
Hello.
the reparations that they're giving out right now. I want it all.
Hello. Hello.
Because you have the opportunity to use it for what it is, for your work.
For your work.
You get to use it for your work. It's not tied to. You ain't got to pledge allegiance to nothing. You know what I'm saying? You get to use it for your work. You can say thank you and keep going. So yeah, I'm gonna sign that petition for reparations.
All that.
What I need to do, pay a $30 membership a year for ADOS card. I'll sign it if I think it's going to help bring more wealth and recognition to Black people and resources. No problem. But that ain't mean I got to march with you. That ain't mean I got to attend the meetings or even agree with you.
Hello. And that's an approach that that has really served me well, and I'm sure you too has served me well. I tell people all the time, listen, people always be like, yo, everybody be on your page, but listen, man, I don't care who you be. You could be Hebrew Israelite, ATR, you could be El Bay, Moors, you could be whoever. I just learned what ATR is too. I didn't even know it had an acronym. I didn't even know it was an acronym. I think I had to ask my niece, what's ATR? African Traditional Religion. I was like, oh, we got an acronym now? We in there now.
I don't know. I was like,
we in there now.
We got an acronym.
You like back in 85, we ain't have no acronym. Listen,
Yeah.
but that's just where I am with it. You know what I'm saying? And it would serve us well to be. I got some of my friends are straight up Black Republicans. Mm-hmm. Good friends of mine. You know what I'm saying? I got friends that think the earth is flat. Mm-hmm. Good friends. I do. No,
I'm sure I do. But it's you grow up, you get to that point where it's just like life. I'm not even gonna say life is too short because I don't believe life is short. I believe life is as long as it's supposed to be for everybody.
Me too.
But it's just like, why waste time? You know what I'm saying? Like, so many of us are distracted and we waste time on things that really don't matter. It doesn't matter to the thing. It doesn't matter to our daily life. It doesn't matter to the health and well-being of our families.
Hello.
Nor does it matter to whether or not you fulfill the mission that God gave you before you leave the earth. So why waste time on it? But I get it that some people, maybe that's a part of the mission, is to dissect things and debate. Like, that has to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do it. I'm just really clear that it ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I post a lot of stuff on my page, and I know I got a lot of people. I posted Kanye was right about Harriet Tubman. People was hitting me up like, brother, I got a lot of respect for you, but right now you are off. Brother Diallo, I need to holler at you. Where you at, Brother Diallo? And I had a conversation with some of my friends who got what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, look, I was trying to be provocative, and I see I provoked some people. Like, I haven't created no controversy in a few weeks on Facebook, so let me create some controversy. And, so it's just,
talk about that, though.
Things.
Talk about that. You said Kanye was right. Talk about that.
I said Kanye was right. So I said Kanye was right, but he indicted Nana Harriet and not the oppressors. Right? So the point that I was getting at was a point that I'm not even sure if I'm able to verbalize properly, but I know he did a much worse job. And that is, at that time in America, enslavement of our people was horrible everywhere. A lot of us don't realize that Rhode Island had one of the most enslavement systems around. Boston had a lot of, it was rough, right? And then he also didn't talk about the full breadth of her work. He doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he just, Harriet Tubman ain't free to say, she just took him to work for other white people. So me saying he was right was really about, me saying that was not agreeing that he was right. It was like, for all of my people who know history holistically, take a look at what he's saying and then look at that time period in America. And even though we went from the South to the North, a lot of us wound up in indentured servitude, or maybe in the South you got 10 lashes, but in the North you got 5 lashes. And one of the things that I said is I hate getting into conversations about where was the pain worse for Black people? Was it worse in the North or the South? It was fucked up for us everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And we had some spaces that we can go in the North and other places and in Canada that help. So for me, it was just kind of a way of also saying, let's not be emotional about statements like that. I mean, let's not dismiss it and throw it out the window, because you got to look at the person making the statement and where they are, what their capacity is, what their breadth of knowledge is, what their research is, right? And then let's take that in, and then let's have a conversation about it. That's really what I was saying. So what I wind up doing, because another thing that I started to do on Facebook specifically, because when I engage, right? So I have this thing about social media that is just social media, but I try to be very intentional. So when I intend to engage, I engage. I normally give myself a full day, right? I make one post, and I know that post is going to get responses. And I follow that post all day. I read every comment. I like or dislike. I ask clarification questions when I need to. I clarify myself. I respond to some people. I don't respond to some, but I actually follow the post like all the way to the end. And then when I get to the end of that day, I say, thank you everybody for commenting. I appreciate it. I learned something today. And then I'm done with it. Naturally I'll see maybe somebody the next day or next week make a comment or post, and I don't really pay too much attention to it because I committed myself to engage for that day. You know, and that's kind of how I treat it. And then outside of that, and a lot of times, the thing that's engaging people is a random thought. Like my random thoughts are controversial to me. My left side say something that my right side be like, shit, you crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, let me post it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's kind of really what it was about. And I thought it was a good engagement. I really enjoy all of the comments that people make because I have a wide variety of people on that platform. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I don't, and I'm not looking like, if everybody on my page just agreed with me all the time, damn, that would be boring. Life would suck.
Yeah.
Life would suck if I just had people saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yeah, you're right. I'm not looking for that. Like,
not at all.
Yeah, let's disagree. Like, it's okay. If we all thinking alike, somebody ain't thinking.
Listen. And I be doing the same stuff. I love to stir the pot.
I see.
I love to talk about.
I'll be like, TiTi be posting titties, penises, vaginas, orgasms. TiTi posts everything.
We gonna talk about history.
It's all about life.
Absolutely. And sometimes I'll post something about Pan Africa, back to Africa, and something I get like no reviews. As soon as it be like entanglement, pussy pop, and everybody
like, oh,
boo.
Everybody get to the keyboard.
I gotta wake everybody up every once in a while. Like, hey, y'all still with me? Come on. I just wrote some shit about some orphans, and y'all niggas ain't saying shit.
Right. Ain't nobody click the donate button or
nothing.
But that's how it is. That's the media. Like most of us, even when we scrolling through the TV, we're not gonna stop and watch the documentary or something that's useful. We want to get to the action flick or the love or the drama that's gonna feed that side of us. So, and it's all good.
Yeah, because we're human.
And we are all of those things.
We human beings. When people realize that you're a human being that's layered and complex, and you're allowed to have a both and. It ain't always got to be either or. I live a lot in the grays.
Listen, I'm Marcus Garvey and Tupac.
Baby.
You better believe it.
Hello. All day.
All in one.
You catch me. I may be Mama Harriet one day. I may be Claire Huxtable the next day. Real spill.
Right. Yeah, no, that's how it is.
Brother Diallo, listen, I have a question about some of your upcoming projects. What are you working on right now? What do you got going on?
Perfect. There are people tuned in who don't know who I am. They don't know what I do. They don't know what I've done. So just to say that I was instrumental in helping the country of Ghana create the year of return. And I worked with the government of Ghana and the Ministry of Tourism, Office of the President, Office of Diaspora Affairs, and Office of the President, Panifest Foundation, and others in Ghana, the Diaspora Coalition, to help bring the year of return about. That's where most people in the world who don't know me first heard my name, right? Good thing they ain't hear it on like no FBI type investigation or something, right? So over the course of last year, in 2019, we did about 750 people over the course of the year.
Wow.
So I was crazy busy. Like the year was incredibly busy. So, going through that process just taught me a lot. I think I'm still recovering and still like going over what happened because so much happened so fast. What year did you come with us? Did you come with us a backyard?
Yeah.
Okay, so you came in 2018. So in February 2018, we took the backyard band. We took a full go-go band of Ghana. And I don't even know if I ever recovered from that, but I know I still have footage, audio. So I'm one of those guys that hold stuff for a little while, drop it a little later. So this year I had decided that in the first quarter, I was just going to take a break. January through March. I had already started building in Ghana, which I'll talk about. Building in a small town called Nyame Bechere. So this year, first quarter, I said, okay, I'm taking a break. I'm not doing nothing January through March. I took down all of the trips that I had posted for this year off the website. And I really took a lot of stuff down so that if somebody wanted to go, like they would have to work to go. They would have to like email me or for me to email them back. You couldn't just go to the site and click and buy a package, because I didn't want that anymore. Because I just, took a whole bunch of large groups and this, and I think I learned enough about it where I want to refine it. And I really want to be able to offer the experience that's more in tune and aligned with who I am, with my spiritual self. So I wanted to be able to show people the Africa that I fell in love with in a more complete way, which includes people, getting spiritual baths, which includes people spending more time in the village, which includes just a different look in the way that we do it, right? As opposed to just kind of tourism, and I asked God to slow things down for me. Like, if you could just slow things down for me a little bit. And then when COVID hit, I was like, I ain't mean that damn slow. I'll just say it a little bit, but I take it as it comes. So, also at the end of last year in this village that I'm a part of, I had been selected to be in Coastal Henny. So Coastal Henny is the chief of development. Now, that title, chief of development, a lot of times people are like, oh, he was made a chief. And they normally make you the chief of development. And it's like, that's the title that they give you when they want you to spend your money, when they want you to do this and they want you to do that. I had a conversation with the people in the town, and I was already doing things. I'd already committed to building a library and a school. And I was already committed to really development, So that was a process. So I started building, which initially was going to be my house. And then once I kind of got into it and I realized it was 12 bedrooms, this, that, and the third. And then as my vision started to be clear, I said, okay, this is going to be the first building that's a part of a wellness resort, right? Like the things that I began to appreciate by spending more time there. And then, so right when COVID hit, let me go back. Like a week and a half before they shut down Accra, because they shut down the city of Accra, meaning it was a few areas you couldn't get in and out of. Something told me to go back to the village. So a week and a half before they shut down Accra, I had already went back to the village, which is Yame Besode, which is, when you say village, people, anyway, whatever they picture. But I went back there, and a week and a half, once COVID hit and they shut it down, I was like, damn, God, you taking care of me. Like, I love you. I appreciate you. You constantly putting me in front of this curve. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not having to move like everybody else because you keeping me 10 steps ahead. So I decided that it was going to be a wellness resort, and that I wanted to have a place for people to kind of feel the peace that I feel when I'm there, for people to wake up with the sun, for people to be able to utilize the herbs, take steam baths, for people to be able to have real fresh farm to table, to be able to go to the farm, pick their own food, have it prepared for them, you know what I'm saying? And really kind of get a chance to go with the light. And it's just like, for 3 days, we're going to live according to the sun. We wake up when the rooster crows, and then we go, by the time the sun goes down, that's kind of the end of the day where we just kind of sit back, relax, have a few drinks, talk, and go to bed early. Yeah. And that's a part of the peace that I feel, and some of that peace lives in the idea that you don't have to have a lot, and that less is more. Right. And then when you're sitting in that peace of less is more, you really can focus on what's the most important thing to you. Right. So that's one of my projects. Is we're building a health and wellness resort. Nice. It's three stories. The structure is already done. A lot of cement and iron rods. So all 6 bedrooms are done. They're just doing the wiring. They're wiring it now. Once we put the roof on, we just need to do windows and doors, and then tile it. Once we do the tiling, it's furnishing. So we're 60%, 75% through. So that's one of the things. I have 30 acres that's in the central region. That I originally, at one point, I was online and I was kind of selling plots of land, and I went about it in a way I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. I found the land, struck an agreement with the traditional council, put some money down, and then now I'm just trying to sell plots. And then I realized that's not a community and I'm not a developer, but that's not how development works. So what I've recently done is I've taken a few steps back from the plots that I've already sold and dealing with those people separately. But we are designing and developing a full community, a full township. Like, I have my architect doing a master site plan. So hopefully in a few weeks, you'll see me introduce it and put it out, where I'm talking about we have X number of condos, X number of houses, X number of apartments. There's commercial property. We got some beachfront mansions. We got some mountainside mansions, so it's a full community that I'll be presenting and using somewhat of a susu model for people to kind of be able to pay in their own small communities who want to actually move to Ghana or have some investment property in Ghana. So outside of those two things, I'm writing a few books. One of them is a Ghana repatriation guide. I will put up some more trips to Ghana, but for now, I've just been doing some personal consulting with people who want to go, people who want to do business and investment. I have I have a business in Ghana that I've created. It's a credentialed, registered, certified Ghanaian business with, a logo, a bank account, and everything. So I've just been really kind of behind the scenes, taking the time to move a little bit slower and be more intentional about how I want to do things, doing a lot of research. I created 2 food franchises that I'm building behind the scenes. So, sometimes I also realized that I spent the last 3 years of my life in front of the public eye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Everybody see me moving back and forth to Ghana. Like
right.
You just see Diallo.
Very visible, very
Facebook,
visible.
Very, very, very visible. Just like bam in your face. And now I'm just kind of taking some time, trying to spend some time in the house with the wife, with my family, with my granddaughter. And I'm just working quietly. Blessed to have such a supportive family, and my family is my team really, because we still have this block in Mount Rainier. So we still have
right
close to 4,000 square feet in 4 buildings that have been closed since March. Once COVID hit, because of our dance classes, I saw, even though we moved some things to online, I still have these physical buildings sitting there that the rent still got to be paid every month. Mm-hmm. So I'm lucky to have a landlord who's Korean, but who over the years I've built a really good relationship with. So what could be a much heavier weight to carry right now is not, but we're doing some pivots over there as well. So we're outfitting our studios so that they could be in person, and we could do high definition virtual programming. Mm-hmm. And I think really from this point forward, I'm really moving towards trying to be less visible personally. Mm-hmm. As much as I think I'm an extrovert, I don't think I am. because when I go out, I want to sit in the corner.
That is me.
I'm saying, and I only really want to be around like people that I really, really know, and like people that, that I know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm enjoying, I'm enjoying just waking up. You know what I'm saying? Like without always having to be on the go, without always having to have the loftiest goal. I'm researching and I'm reading a lot. I posted something the other day saying like, when I was young, I used to think that some shit was either weird, that nerd shit was weird black boy shit or white boy shit. And now that I'm 44, I want to learn all of the weird black boy, nerdy white boy shit. Like now I want to know more about bandwidth. I want to know about technical stuff. I want to know about space. I want to know about how this table is made. I want to do DIY. I'm really taking this as an opportunity, and I still have to work and pay bills and stuff like that and help out with my family. And I'm still taking care of this village in Ghana, my town in Yame Bechede. And I always say my town because not that it's mine, but it's a sense of ownership that I've taken since they've made me in Coastal Henny. So we still are building the school, the
library.
ITC, the library and the ITC Center. But I know that in order for us to spur development, we need an economic center, right? The first thing that I need to have in this community is a place or something that can help generate income. So once I finish the wellness center, I know that will help to bring people there and generate income.
Yeah.
I've gotten into agriculture, so I'll start my first cocoa farm in January.
That's why I was asking you about hemp.
Cocoa. Cocoa is a $1 billion industry in Ghana. Ghana and Ivory Coast are the largest cocoa producers in the world. Yeah. So I've connected with a few cats from Nigeria and some people here that we're working on a cocoa collective. So it's a lot of stuff happening. None of which, to be honest, TiTi, I'm telling you everything. So anybody who listens to this will hear a lot of stuff that you really won't ever see me post on my page or talk about. And that's just because I'm in a space where I'm just trying to putting some things together.
Right.
I'm putting things together. So the hard work that I've done for the past 3 years has allowed for me to have this short time and space to just kind of, like making exercise a priority. So if I can't work out, then I at least got to go walk a mile or two, like at least 2 miles. Because when I was gone, I was going 10 miles a day. In the morning, I wake up, I'd walk 10 miles, come back, juice for an hour and a half, drink my juice, eat fresh food, take a shower, relax, and then start my day like without, I didn't wake up and look at my phone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm trying to recreate some of that while I'm here. I'm enjoying the time that I have with my wife, with my daughter before she goes back to school, spending as much time as I can with my granddaughter and my son. He finishes his grad school. So as he's kind of getting into his thing, Kwaku Sumbry, my wife's name is Maisha Ham, my daughter is Alma Sumbry, and my granddaughter is Boss Lady, AC. So just wanting to be more present. So I feel like I'm able to be more present at home while I'm here, because soon I'll go back. And just really, I'm really like, I feel like in this year, this is my 45th year. So I feel like in this year, I'm really now just kind of zoning in and tuning in to who I am and what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? On a real level. Like, I've done a lot of stuff, but who am I and what am I really supposed to do? So, being visible isn't as important, and productivity is even defined a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Then it used to be you got to be running 18 hours a day in order to be considered productive, and now that's just not cool. Like, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah. Listen.
Right. So I have, so soon, I would say in the next 2 months, I'll probably release the book cover. And I do stuff different. Like, I think I got the book cover done and I only had 2 chapters written. But I was like, I got the vision for the cover. So I was like, let me get the cover done. So I got so much respect for anybody that's ever written a book. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, anybody, I don't care if the book is 48 pages, but if you sat down, wrote it, got it published, printed, and put it out, salute. Because for me, it just hasn't been as simple as an easy task that I thought I'll just get up there and let me just knock this out. And it ain't that simple. It's a serious discipline. So, I'm enjoying that. Like, I'm enjoying that, and I'm enjoying taking the time and going through the process of making decisions a little bit differently.
I love it. We always like your good morning messages.
Good morning, Global African Family.
Global African Family.
TiTi, I'm going to just say shout out to you. And I was cleaning out the studio the other day, and guess what I found? My TiTi Talks pen.
Ew.
It just jumped out at me. I was like, okay, all right. I'm going to say shouts out to you. You hella supportive. You always supportive. You not just talk like when you say, and I ain't just saying this because I'm on the show. Like, you actually do what you say you're going to do. When you say you want support, you do. You're really good with follow up. So anytime you ever call me for anything, not just to be on the show, I'm going to do my best to be there for you. I would just really tell people that, man, during this time of COVID, take it easy on yourself. Like, don't pressure yourself too much. Don't feel like every day has to be productive. And although it's a hard time for everybody and things look a little bit different, search for the blessing. If you look well enough, you will see that what COVID just did is remove the mask off a lot of things. And if you pivot and situate yourself properly, you can free yourself, because COVID just told everybody that your job can be done from home, that you do not have to go to work to do it. And there are some people who have to, but some of us don't. It also gave us an opportunity to look at ourselves, to deal with ourselves in a way that we haven't had to. So a lot of times, if the walls are closing in, it's not really the walls, it's you closing in on yourself. So, I would just say, engage your core, use this time wisely. And the only real tragedy is when things get going back up and the world kind of opens up, even though we'll have this new normal and masks will probably become standard. But when the world opens up and the markets save themselves and rescue themselves or whatever, and they say the economy is back up, and then like you start to feel that rat race coming back on, stop, breathe, and ask yourself, do you really want to go back to where you were?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to go back to how things were?
Right.
Or do you want to just move a little bit differently? So the only real tragedy, I would say, is that if you come out of this on the other side being the exact same person, like something should change in you and about you, I would say. And other than that, you can find us at theadinkra.group.com, TheAdinkra group.com, across social media. The Adinkra Group. You can find me on IG at The Heart Forever. Info at theadinkragroup.com for all inquiries. I got a book dropping soon. I got a few other things dropping soon, changing our programming around. I got a whole repatriation program, business and investment. We building our first city. So just holler. If you got a bag and you want to figure out what to do with it, definitely holler.
Listen, all of my bag holder friends. The ones with the bags.
Mm-hmm. We got spreadsheets to go with it.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? We can answer your questions. Like,
listen,
ain't just asking for nothing for free.
This ain't no rink. Listen, I need y'all to understand. This ain't no rinky dink shit. Okay, these folks is too legit to quit. Paperwork is in order. This is a true business endeavor on both sides of the water. There's extensive connections. There's a lot of opportunity if you're an opportunist and you're somebody who has vision. If you're somebody who has vision, I told y'all December 31st. I said this is before COVID, before Kobe, before everything. I was like 2020 is gonna be.
Vision.
I said 2020 is gonna be wonderful to the people that have vision, and it's gonna mercilessly drag anybody who does not have vision and doesn't have the ability to execute. It's just, I said 2020 is just gonna roll your ass over. Before all of that stuff happened, the vast majority of people, and I put a post up about this the other day. Vast majority of people in my circle, they're doing amazing things homeschooling their children. They've started some businesses. They've revamped some businesses. You know, they have taken time away to take care of older family members. You know what I'm saying? They've taken time. Some people went and you know, worked on some personal things, you know, for themselves. I know some people that just decided they were just going to go to therapy. You know, they don't have to sit in anybody's office. They can do it do telehealth now. I know people who never even thought about seeing a therapist who have been seeing therapists during COVID-19 because they were just a little bit more comfortable with the distance type of thing.
I was online with my therapist in Ghana.
Listen, all day. All day.
Real life.
Real stuff. And so I've just been really impressed by what people are doing. There's a lot of my homegirls pregnant. I know what they was doing during the quarantine. Cause it's some little juices coming through. That's always exciting.
It's some Covidantes and some Coronitas coming.
Covante. Yes, they coming. But you know what? They coming because they were sent for. These are the children we asked for. This is what we've been praying and begging and banging our fists on the table about.
Yep.
And you know, we're being sent that. Thank you, Brother Diallo, for what you do. I'm always excited to see what's going on. I'm a huge fan of solutionaries and people who move their feet a lot more than they move their mouth.
My mouth might move the same. I know it's not.
But you know, listen to the thing. You got the feet to back up the mouth.
The mouth, right.
You got the feet to back it up. People be talking and then they ain't even got no feet. They ain't walking nowhere.
Right.
You know? You always have a very balanced perspective. You come from a beautiful place of love for Black people. And I think that's why you and I hit it off so well, because we have a very common love just off rip for Black people. I don't care if you on the corner. I don't care if you in the boardroom. I don't care if you in the university, if you around the way, whoever. I can find something in common with you. We can find a common ground, because I'm very clear about it, and I'm sure you're clear about it too. That our success as a people really depends on our ability to connect and network and interlock lives. Because there's a lot of misconceptions on both sides of the coin. There's a lot of misconceptions about what African Americans do or don't do on the continent. There's a lot of misconceptions about what we think as, Black Americans here about what's happening on the continent. And there's only a very few population of people on both sides who has enough interaction with each other to have the range to even have those type of conversations. Everything else just be hearsay, And so I enjoy people when people will be like, well, they don't like us. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll pull up a video from TiTi Talks talking with some brothers that I may have met in Ghana. And they saying, hey, we love Black Americans. We want y'all to come home.
Right.
I'm like, well, this ain't this ain't what some folks say.
Who said they don't like us? Like, where you hear that at?
Ooh, I've heard some stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Your auntie probably said she ain't like your ass either, but you still go to the family reunion.
Right.
You still go to the reunion. But all jokes aside, I appreciate it. I'm always gonna, elevate whatever you got going on because, I want us to continue to connect. I'm trying to get people over there. And going to Africa don't mean you abandoning nothing here. I really love the term birthright. I tell people all the time, all this shit mine. Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Ghana, Nigeria, all this shit mine, Now, if that's a colonizer mentality, I'm going to have to unpack that. I'll unpack that later.
No, it can all be yours.
But seriously, my family, we're from Florida, we're from Georgia, we're from Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Geechee, all of that. And so all of that's mine. If I get a house or a property in Ghana, even if I move to Ghana, you know what I'm saying? I'm still very clear on my people, my lineage on both sides of the water. And I think that it behooves us to have to develop relationships with your ancestry. If you one of the Black people here who had family that was here prior to the slave trade, rep that shit. Rep
AfricanAncestry.com.
Hey, listen, I did a show about that too. With Dr. Gina Page. Yes. So, yes, my reveal, maternally Mende people of Sierra Leone. Who's your people? Were you Timney? I can't remember.
No, my maternal, Fulani of present-day Nigeria, and my paternal, Ateke of present-day Gabon.
And Gabon, that's right. So yeah, African ancestry is dope. I want to say episode 8 or 9, I believe. It was the one either right before or right after Brother Diallo's. We talked with Dr. Gina Page from African Ancestry. So if you had any questions about that, take a listen to that show. It's very interesting. We have the technology now to know specific details that, several decades ago, we just didn't have, the access to.
Right.
And, one of the beautiful things about being a Black person now is, yes, we're still dealing with oppressive systems, but golly, the access to information and just the access to knowledge, and it's so vast right now.
Yes, it is.
It is so vast. You can really get some stuff done if you just stop digging around on the internet.
I'm still amazed by Zoom call and FaceTime. Like,
yeah,
I'm still amazed by that stuff is still amazing to me. That because we ain't always have cell phones.
Yeah.
That was in my lifetime.
And I was thinking the other day, my grandfather, he'll be 102 in September.
Woo!
And when he was a little boy, he was here the first time Spanish flu came around in 1918. That was the year he was born.
Yeah.
And at that age in the early 1920s, he couldn't have even fathomed something like the internet.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have been able to even wrap his mind around what the internet is, what an email address is,
Right.
shopping
At
online. What is an online, you know?
Amazon.
Listen, and he's still living, you know? So I'm
Wow.
thinking about now, when I was a little girl, what is something that I couldn't even wrap my mind around? That'll probably be what it looks like when I'm 80, 90, 100 years old.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it'll be some craziness, you know what I'm saying? You know, drones bringing power to your home and shit. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Right. It's gonna be something.
It's
different.
gonna be something. Follow this brother. Follow what he's doing. Support it. Share it. Support me. Share me. Y'all holla at my Patreon too, because I'm actually looking to do a series with expats.
I checked your Patreon the other day.
Check it again.
I am. I'm gonna drop something in there.
Drop something in there for a sister.
I was learning Patreon, and I was like, "How this thing works?" So when I set my account up, I was like, "Oh, okay, okay."
Yes. So you know, I'm trying to do I would love to do a series on expats in Ghana.
I got some folks you can talk to. Just let me know.
Yeah, I have a big goal to do that. So I've been definitely trying to get more Patreon involvement so that I could be able to put resources together, you know, get a team together and, you know, get with the folks down there and just do a whole series on it. I'm excited about it. People are asking me about it and I'll be like, hey, what better way to do it than for me to just go have conversations with people that are actively doing it, you know? So we gonna link it up. We're gonna do it. I'm writing a book right now too, so I feel you right on. We in the
put author by our name. We got to put author by our name. And have that as another thing.
Listen, man, it's gonna be a beautiful thing though. I'm excited to support what you're doing. You know, you're always welcome. You can come back anytime you got some new shit popping. You know, come holler at TiTi, and it's gonna be beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, sis.
Peace.
Thank you so much for vibing with me. Make sure you're following me on the social medias. Make sure you're sharing all of my content and keep being great. You didn't come here to do the least. Peace.